President Johnson's 1965 commencement address at Howard University. Quote, "You do not take a person who has been hobbled by chains and bring him up to the starting line of a race and say, you're free to compete with the others. Equal opportunity is essential, but not enough," close quote. So this notion that there has to be compensation for all those years of oppression is fundamental to all policy concerning African Americans for the last half century and more. Mm-hmm. And what I want to know is, in your view, was Johnson correct in 1965, but that view is wrong now? That measures were necessary, affirmative action, transfer payments, all of that was necessary, but at some point it began to hold African Americans back? I just want to know what you're thinking, or was it wrong to begin with, or do we still need it now? What is your thinking on that? It's so basic to the federal government's relationship with African Americans, even today.
Yes. I remember that speech has been quoted. I've quoted it, I don't know how many times. You can't bring somebody up to the starting line that's been oppressed and expect them to compete. What that is really about is not about black people, because black people were in the position of coming into freedom. You can do what you want. You can help them or not, but they're going to have to deal with it in some way. That statement was about what I've written a good deal about, white guilt. And it was a horrible, historical, as far as I'm concerned, mistake, because what Johnson was saying was, we oppressed you, now we're going to lift you up and redeem you.
You're still our responsibility.
But, your fate remains in our hands.
Right.
Your fate, you don't see your fate as being in your hands. It's now in our hands, the government's hands, every kind of philanthropic group's hand, everybody's hands but yours. And so we then had to have had 60 years of white guilt. Why did America spend, I've heard the figure as high as $22 trillion in that time, spent on all manner of welfare and programs and so forth, educational programs, none of which have ever worked. But white guilt is a very specific thing. It is not a genuine feeling of guilt. Nothing to do with that. It is the terror, the literal terror of being seen as a racist. Everybody knows in America that's the bottom line. If you are seen as a racist openly in public, you are ruined. You have no life. Whites live, and we have not acknowledged this enough. 90%, what Johnson was doing is saying, I can't have you call me and I can't have you call this country a racist. Mm. And so I'm going to give you a whole bunch of things. I worked in those programs, so I know them intimately. They were just sort of what we would say, jump off the toilet programs. Anything, well, just something we can throw money at to say we're not racist. We don't care whether it works. We're not going to follow up we had school busing for how many decades, ruining the public school system. No one even asked a question about it. What was the point of that? All these bad ideas, school integration did absolutely nothing. Black students were still unable to compete. Because the focus was on what the government was going to do and this sort of thing, and not on what black students do. So white guilt has been a real driver of these corruptions, and these football players down on their knees know that. They know that the owners are going to capitulate and throw something their way.
Roger Goodell, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, quote, "They're talking about equality issues, making sure that we're doing everything we possibly can, we in the NFL are doing or we in the United States, actually, I'm not sure what he meant. We're doing everything we possibly can to give people an opportunity, whether it's education or economic." What do you make of that statement?
What in the world has that got to do with football? that is just a perfect white guilt statement. He's saying, he may as well just say, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. I'm not a racist, I'm not a racist. And he will find a way, I understand he has, give millions of dollars to some cause called social justice. Well, what is that? I can tell you what that is. That's a lot of hustling. That's a lot of black hustlers stepping forward to take that $100 million and put it in their pocket and make things. Those again, you create a whole class of hustlers. You make black leaders. Black leadership today is pretty much nothing left but hustlers who work white guilt.